Klopp versus Pep, Pep versus Klopp, Klopp versus Pep, Pep versus Klopp.
It's all about the Reds this weekend.
No,
Malaysia,
no,
guys.
Hello, welcome to the Plot Malaysia. This is our 86th episode. This is the show for the fans.
By the fans.
And it's live. Guys, it's going to be an amazing show today. Well, to be honest, I hate talking about the wrong side of Manchester, but I don't have a choice. Noisy neighbors.
And you definitely love talking about Merseyside, basically.
No,
The Reds from Merseyside.
no. We'll talk about Everton and United. Well. Anyway, of course, the big match preview is on. Liverpool taking on Man City at Anfield, and it's going to be awesome. Well, hurry. We're not going to be alone today too, innit?
No, we're not alone today, guys. We've got a full house today.
Yep.
So Ram, I'll let you introduce the both of them, man. But we've got some fantastic guests. Obviously, we've got a regular panelist on our
Yep.
show now who obviously gives us really good insights on football in general, the Premier League, but also
Yep.
very much about the Blue Boys, or what BC calls them, Locomotive London.
Locomotive London.
So he gives us insights on Locomotive London, and then obviously we've got a special guest all the way from Manchester
Yes.
today, Ram. So you want to introduce them?
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, Harry. So, joining us for the first time on the Plot Malaysia, we have a very special guest all the way from Manchester. He's just like me because he believes Manchester is red. Yeah. So let's welcome Man United fan from Manchester, Mr. Kabir.
Hey,
Thank you for having me.
welcome, Kabir. It's an
welcome.
absolute pleasure, man.
Oh, welcome to the show. It seems like weather is quite cold there.
Yeah, it's getting colder here. It was really warm last week for the game I went, but it's getting cold now.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
so yeah, obviously, guys, Kabir's got some really interesting stories. He's telling us he was at the Stratford end when Ronaldo ripped his shirt off for Cavani to pick it up just a few days back. So, so that was pretty cool. Kabir, great having you on the show, man. I'm sure we're going to get some really good insight from you, close to the scene as well. I think from what I hear, you're trying to get to that game as well at Anfield. So that would be pretty interesting. And then obviously we've got regular panelists now. Supports the hot favourites for the title, they call them Locomotive London or Chelsea Football Club. He runs his own special channel as well, guys, and you guys got to check it out. But it's Ankit from Chelsea, Almighty Chelsea TV.
Hey guys,
Almighty Blues.
Almighty Blues, it is, yes.
It is definitely Almighty Blues, but unfortunately, we are not the Almighty Blues for this week. So, it's probably a great, kind of opportunity for you guys to give some banter, a rare banter at that. But yeah, then certainly great to be back. Always great to discuss football with you guys, and of course, great to meet Kabir as well.
Thank you very much.
What's it now? 2 defeats on the bounce, isn't it?
Absolutely, this is the rarity. So those collectors definitely are there, kind of keeping all the videos with them, because this is not going to happen. Like, and the Tuchel losing, I think the first time that we lost 2 back-to-back on the Tuchel. In fact, we hadn't lost away as well, for a good while. So now that we have lost away as well, which is a big kind of question mark. But again, it's 2 big clubs that we have lost to, so it's not really panic mode yet, but certainly something that we'll have to pull up our socks.
Yeah, but Ankit, you know what they say, the famous saying, man, things come, all good and bad things comes in threes. So there's a defeat coming this weekend, I think.
Third time lucky.
Okay. Well. We have a very, very special topic to discuss today, of course. We have a big match preview coming over on Sunday, which is Liverpool versus Man City. But Harry, what do we have in store for our guests today and the viewers out there?
All right, man, guys, listen, we're going to preview the games from the weekend, obviously, but the big focus on today is going to be the big game this weekend, probably the biggest match of the season so far. The reason I say that is because these are 2 winners of the title of the last 4 years. They both won the title in the last 4 years. and it's Pep versus Klopp, and it's normally a thrilling affair when the two sides meet as well. It can go either way, and it's at Anfield as well, a full and packed Anfield as well. So the focus of tonight is going to be that, and we'll obviously be talking about the title race in general as well, and the impact this game could have on the title race as we head into the international break. So before we get into that, let's quickly start off with let's quickly start off with the Premier League fixtures for the weekend. So early kickoff, Man United, Everton at Old Trafford.
It's early again.
Yeah,
again.
Another early kick, and it's a good game actually because it's Rafa Benitez back at Old Trafford with Everton. Everton's a good form. I think they're level on points as well, isn't it? With United going into the game.
I guess so. So
should be a really, really good game. And Man United, again, I mean, Ronaldo saved all his blushes a few days back. So it's going to be a really interesting game as well, this one. Burnley, Norwich, and then we've got Chelsea, Southampton. So if there's any game where you should get back into form.
Tricky game.
I don't know about tricky game, man. Southampton haven't won a game yet, I think, this season, have they? They've drawn a lot. They've drawn a lot of games, so I don't know, but it should be an easy win for Chelsea. Leeds, Watford, Wolves, Newcastle wrap up Saturday's fixture. There are lots of games on Sundays actually. The early kickoff, which is actually Saturday as well, is Brighton Arsenal, and that should be a good game.
Good
Both
game.
Sides on form. Both play really good attacking brand of football. Should be a really good game, that one. Crystal Palace, Leicester, Spurs, Aston Villa, and Spurs, man, really need to get a win from somewhere.
They to spur.
Yeah, they really need to spur, bro. But Villa, tough opponents, as proven a week ago. West Ham, Brentford. Again, really good game, this one. West Ham, really good form. Brentford in cracking form as well. So it should be a good game. And then obviously the big one to wrap up the fixtures for the weekend as we head into the international break. Liverpool, Man City, which we will be discussing right now at Anfield. So guys, it is the big fixture. It's Klopp versus Pep. Let's get straight into it, guys. I mean, what are your thoughts going into the game, Ram? What do you think about the game? As a neutral, I suppose, as an enemy of both sides, what do you think about the game?
But it's hard for me to be a neutral in this game, because I'm a United fan. I hate the blue side of Manchester. I definitely do not like Liverpool, so obviously it's going to be hard for me to be on a neutral, but I'm hoping for this to be a draw, to be honest. A 0-0, 1-1, whatever, as long as it's a draw, it's going to help United fans. But as of course, talking about football, if I'm going to put two of these teams on paper, I do think that this time I do have a feeling that Pep might just have the edge over Klopp. I feel.
Yes. Well, that's good insight. I mean, I don't know if he's going to have the edge over Klopp, but yeah, gathering your thoughts there. What about the two of you, man? What about let's start with Kabir, man. Kabir, you're in the ground basically, in the sense that you're in the UK right now. You're in Manchester, literally about 45 minutes away from Liverpool. Your thoughts about the game itself? Are you going to be watching the game firstly, and what are your thoughts about the game as a neutral?
Yeah. Of course, I'll be watching the game at home, maybe with my friends. But I don't see City getting back-to-back wins away from home. Especially, I think Anfield, as much as I hate to say it, it is a fortress, and it's going to be their first home game, like a first home big game, which is what I'm trying to say. And I think the fans will be out, and Salah's playing really well. I do think I could see a draw and I could see a Liverpool win. I don't see City coming away with 3 points.
Okay.
Interesting.
Hey.
And I hope that is the case. Actually, to be honest, I'm gathering your thoughts first, Ankit. Then I'll speak about from a Liverpool fan perspective. But what about you, man? Ankit, you catching the game? I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to it big time. I actually am obviously planning a watch along as well first time, possibly again, something in the works. But for me, as in Kabir mentioned, the first big game for me, definitely the Chelsea game was the game which kind of told me how Liverpool will be in big games this season. Again, that red card, spoiled the game, that particular game. But as in for me, definitely Liverpool are going for it. It's clear for everyone to see. They won't, hold themselves back. I think the Anfield crowd will certainly help. But I think a great point that Kabir also makes about Manchester City going away for a second time. In fact, the third time. I think
Third, PSG,
PSG.
PSG in
Yeah,
midweek.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
exactly. As in, so for them to actually go as in all guns blazing for the third time, because against PSG, don't forget, like they did very well. They really
I thought they
attacked
were
in the first
outstanding
half.
actually. They lost, but I thought
Exactly.
they
Yep,
were
yep.
outstanding. Yeah.
Right, and then so I don't see that kind of as in level being maintained. So I can see Pep as in which is very rare actually going for a draw. Like it won't be a bad result to be very honest. Like if Man
Yep.
City actually go for a draw and surprise everyone, like because everyone would expect them to press like they did against Chelsea, like they did against PSG. But I can see Pep actually taking a back foot this time and probably letting Klopp have the ball. Like that's just my call. And that's the reason I kind of see Man City being happy to be on the fence. But I think the Anfield crowd will probably determine things being different. And of course, like the Liverpool team news, which will also come through, right?
Yes,
Hmm.
we will get to that indeed. I mean, as a Liverpool fan, I'm a bit nervous going into the game. Obviously, I am with any big games. Uh, but yeah, I mean, Ankit, you brought a really good point, right? Because uh, Pep actually is scared of Liverpool. If you've seen, I think there were some inside videos of him in the dressing room before, really scared of the front three of Liverpool, not having answers. And he's had some bad defeats at Anfield. If you think about it, he's
Hmm.
had some horrible defeats at Anfield. And I think it was 2 or 3 years ago when he came to Anfield and he literally parked the bus. If you remember that game, it
Hmm.
ended in a draw where
Yep,
he just
yep.
shut everything down. He didn't want to be caught on the counter attack on the break. Um, and yeah, hi Eugene. So
Hi,
yeah,
Eugene.
it's going to be a tricky game. I hope he doesn't set up that way. I hope he comes out and attacks us as well, and he tries to keep the ball because I think we've got a way of playing them on the break. We can press them, get the ball off them, and then we can hunt down their because they normally play a high line. They normally leave 2 against 2 with Diaz and Laporte, and I think he's going to be scared to do that against Liverpool's front three. So I think that would be really intriguing, actually, how Pep goes after the game. Because I think Klopp, we know how he's going to approach the game. He's going to go to start fast. It's at Anfield. We got a heavy defeat to City at Anfield last year, but that was because we didn't have a defense, but we also didn't have a crowd. And when there's an Anfield
Hmm.
crowd, they normally don't perform. City, they you can see they panic quite a lot. So here's hoping the Anfield crowd, the cop end makes a difference, and the pressure gets the City, and our fast start, intensity start makes a difference, and we're able to go 1 or 2 goals up. But that's the hope. But of course, really scared of City because I was very impressed with the way they played Chelsea. They dominated that game, and then to
Yep.
be honest, even though they lost against a really good PSG side, I thought they played really well. They dominated that game. So
Yep.
going to be a very, very tricky fixture, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, that's how I see the game possibly playing out. What about you guys, man? Do you see where do you see the game being won or lost, Kabir?
Um, the PSG. I think a big player for them was Verratti.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like he controlled the whole game from the defense to attack. Like he was the focal point. So I think in these type of big games, it's where the midfield battle can be won.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just playing the ball out to Salah, to Mane, and just and obviously on the City side, who can win that midfield battle and play the ball to their attackers, because that's pretty much what you have to do to win these big games,
Yeah, you're spot
and
on.
being clinical, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, spot on. I think the approach that City took when I remember a couple of seasons ago against Liverpool was they were scared of Salah and Mane, exposing their fullbacks when their fullbacks pushed up. So they actually told their fullbacks not to push up because they were happy with the draw. So uh, do you see it playing out in a similar way, Ankit?
See, as in you hit the nail on the head, because for me the fullbacks or probably the as in I think Liverpool probably play like wing backs, although they are fullbacks. That's how Liverpool will play. So for me, that will be the determining factor, because for me again, I think Trent and playing not playing, I don't know if
Hmm.
it's an if and
Yeah, he's
but.
out.
So
He's out. It's confirmed. He's
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 out.
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 Yeah.
Okay, so as in that's where I see probably a stalemate. Like again, I'm kind of disappointing you by by that thing, but the fact that if Trent had played, and then we could see a lot more attacks coming. And imagine a Kyle Walker on one side, Trent on one side. That would have been like the game for me. Like someone who could kind of beat that wing, because I think in midfield, let's get it right. As in both midfields are very strong. As in once Fabinho has come in Liverpool's midfield, like it looks a different kettle of fish altogether. Like I have
I
to
think
definitely give him plaudits.
I think players like Curtis Jones, Harry, that you have said that he dominated the midfield in the last game. I think this guy could possibly, shine in this big game, and it may be a good test for him. So he might he might be able to do something in this game. What do you think, Harry? It's possible.
I actually think so as well. But let me get to that. Actually, it's a really good point. Uh,
Mhm.
Right, guys. So to be
Oh.
honest, as you can see, I've come up with a starting lineup, which I think Liverpool could play in this game. Now, there are two couple of ways Liverpool could approach this game, uh, which is they could stick with this formation, which is what they've played all through the year, which is Allison, and then obviously the back four of Robertson, Van Dijk, Matip, which is stable, and then their options at right back. Who comes in for Trent? No one's going to be like Trent. No one's going to be a playmaker like Trent. We don't have a right back like that. So what do? We could go with Joe Gomez at right back, but then you lose a lot in attack. So I think he will go with Milner because Milner had an outstanding game at right back against Zaha in Crystal Palace, and then he had a really good game at right back against Porto in midweek as well. And then in midfield, what I would like to see now, this is what I would like to see. I would like to see Fabinho, Henderson, and Curtis Jones start that game. So
Mhm.
speaking of what you said, Ram, Keita is back, and Keita will
Yep.
probably be the favorite to get back into the side. Uh, but to be honest, Curtis Jones is the man who should start. He's the man in form. He's been outstanding. He was outstanding against Brentford, scored a wonder goal, and then had a brilliant game in midweek against Porto, where he was man of the match, ran the show. I think he had 3 or 4 assists in the game. That's how good
He
he
was
was. That's
involved in
how
all
well
five goals. You said, right?
involved in all
Pretty
five
much.
goals as well. 20 years old. And it's
Mhm.
frightening, right? Exciting for Liverpool. The thought of us having a midfield with Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. Obviously, he's injured
Mm.
now, but the thought of that, right? Curtis Jones 20, Harvey Elliott is 18, and that's our future midfield sorted. So
Mm.
exciting time, but he had a brilliant game and he looks on form. So I would start with him. The other thing I like about Jones compared to Keita, he's a goal threat. He takes shots
Yep.
from outside the box. He drives at the defenders. He creates things. He's not afraid to take shots from outside the box. So that's who I would go with. And then this is where the question becomes very intriguing. It's in my opinion, it should be Jota, Salah, Mane. Some may say Firmino should start instead of Jota, but I think he will start with Jota, Salah, Mane. But if you guys recall, I think it was last year at the Etihad, Klopp sprang a surprise. He started with all four. He played Bobby Firmino, Jota, Salah, and Mane because he felt it was a defense. It was the best way to counter City and press them from the front. And played two in midfield, which would mean Fabinho and Henderson. So he could spring a surprise and go with something like that. So I'd like to gather your thoughts on that. Actually, let's start with Kabir on this one. Do you think he'll go with this, or do you think he'll go with four in attack? And what would you prefer to see?
I really have no clue actually, because I mean they're both great managers. You really don't know what they're gonna come out with, but because City have played as you mentioned, they played midweek and they played 2 games away. I don't know if their pressing will be as high, or will they let Liverpool come back, push them. But yeah, I mean, those four together with Jota playing up and then Firmino playing in that hole in the
Yep.
holes. I think, yeah, I could see that happening.
Hmm.
I would love to see that
Interesting.
happen. Actually, what about you,
Yeah.
Ankit? Do you think that would be? I mean, that would be he'd spring a surprise, but he's done it before. He's done it at the Etihad before, uh, and bringing on Firmino against Porto, he getting 2 goals, he's on form, gave me a bit of a feeling that he might spring a surprise. He might do that. Jones played the full 90 minutes as well. I don't know. I just get the feeling he might spring a surprise because he doesn't have Thiago. He may go with Fabinho, Henderson to hold the midfield and put four up top and try and press City from the front into submission, basically.
Quite
Uh,
possible, yeah, definitely. Because, again, the fact that Trent is not playing and Milner is there, Milner, I think, is defensively much more sound
yep,
compared to Trent. So
yep.
that'll probably give the freedom that the four up front want, with Fabinho, Henderson kind of sitting, like you said, and I think Robertson, he's kind of good either way. So that is one possibility. But the fact that Jones had that worldly performance, right? I
Yep.
think that cannot be ignored. And Klopp is one, I think, with the youngsters especially, like we've seen him in the past, like he actually bloods them well. As in, even when people are injured, he wasn't afraid to put in Curtis Jones whole of last season. I know it was almost like he had to play him at times, but I think Curtis Jones, I think he's got the trust. So I think maybe Firmino also getting goals will make Jota being on the bench and maybe start with Firmino. Salah and Mane and Jones, and probably get Jota in, because City have kind of played away for 2 games, and this is the third game in a row, and they've kind of played the pressing game. I can see Jota kind of creating havoc coming late on, so that may work as well.
Yeah, I think there are options, right, which is interesting. I think this is interesting, right? We probably didn't have that option last year because we didn't have a fit team. We didn't have players. We probably had 11 players. There are options, and I think that's good because it gets Pep thinking as well. What Liverpool is going to play, he's probably guessing as well, and I think that's fun, right? The fact that we can spring a surprise on him. He may not know what's coming his way, so that's really intriguing going into the fixture. Ram, your thoughts about this, man?
Okay, first and foremost, I think this setup looks really good, Harry. The one that you've actually put up for us to see, it looks really, really good. I think if this was a squad going into City, I think definitely you can see a threat. Because like what Kabir said, I don't think Man City is going to be pressing that high. So this lineup looks good. But in my opinion, because I look at Curtis Jones, he is young, and yes, he's very talented. He's got raw talent. I do think that he might also choose Firmino to come in as well to give him some support, because I do see Firmino as a good playmaker as well. Okay, and because you guys are going to be without Trent, so you guys are going to be missing out on that sort of attacking front. So I think he might drop Jota out of this one, and he might put in Firmino, and yes, the rest of it would stay as how you've put it in front. Yeah.
And again, that's an interesting one, right? Because Firmino has good form against City. He always tends to score against them. He always tends to cause them problem by dropping into the hole. He kind of disrupts the play. He kind of sits on Rodri or Fernandinho in the past. That's his role. He sits on them, so he doesn't give them time to keep it simple and pass the ball out of midfield, out of defense. So yeah, interesting. A lot of questions obviously to be asked. It could go either way in terms of his team selection as well. This is potentially what I like to see. I know you could go with 4 up top, would be interesting, but I think Curtis Jones deserves a shot to start, and he can again play like a Firmino. He can play like a number 10. He can move into a number 10 and then fall back into midfield as well. So it could go that way as well, man. What about guys? By the way, just a thought. I mean, you mentioned about City playing 2 games on the bounce away from home. Liverpool also have played 2 away from home. Obviously, now they're playing at home, but they're coming from 2 away from home as well. So. But I mean, hopefully the Anfield crowd swings it our way. What about City going into the game? I mean, City could go many different ways as well. What I've got here is what I think they might go with. This was the starting lineup they played last weekend. And this was against Chelsea, which is why I think he'll go with this, because this worked for him last week. I thought they were outstanding. They played with almost 6 midfielders. There was no striker. I think Phil Foden played the false 9. Was it? Am I right, Ankit, in saying that?
Yes, absolutely. Phil Foden played, and Gabriel Jesus. This guy is kind of as a revitalized. Like, this guy is in the right wing, is really playing well, and as in that gives Grealish the freedom. But I think the person who probably Liverpool need to watch out for most is the main playmaker. Really, this season has been Rodri. Like, Rodri has been tremendous. As in when he plays, and then it's impossible to get off the ball from him. Like, I don't know, he's turned into a Busquets almost, right? And that's the level that he's playing at. But yeah, then certainly, as in Bernardo Silva again, great player. So I would go with that as well. Definitely, I can see this repeating. And I think after that performance that they had against Chelsea, there's no reason to do otherwise. But yeah, only if City don't plan to kind of press so much, then Foden may drop out in my view, and they'll probably stock up the midfield. But again, that's something that maybe Fernandinho and his antics might work. That's something that you never know with Pep, because I think in such a big game, I think character
he does like to overthink it in the big games. That's the thing with Pep, isn't it?
Yes. No, but at Anfield especially, right? Because of the fact that I think Pep hasn't done traditionally so well. I know he's got an odd win, but it's not like he's done well at all. Like, to be very honest, right? So he might kind of get someone with character like a Fernandinho, and again Rodri has been brilliant. So maybe play the double pivot and maybe change a little bit. As in, that's something against Pep, but I can actually see that happening because Foden, I don't see him kind of getting that kind of time on the ball that he had against Chelsea. But again, that's just me thinking, what happened against Chelsea because of that. But yeah, you never know.
It's a really good point, right, Ram? I think if you look at Gabriel Jesus has been outstanding, actually.
Yes,
he's been playing off the right, not as a striker, but he's been playing brilliantly off the right. And then, of course, you've got multiple threats in De Bruyne and Bernardo. So before we get to Kabir, Ankit, I want to get your thoughts on this because you were first-hand, right? City have played you the last week. They were outstanding. They dominated you guys. You saw the full match. Who do you think stood out, and where do you think the challenges are going to be for Liverpool?
See, as in again, for me, it's a midfield battle. As in, there's no two ways about it. I know I spoke about the wing back situation, but that's from an attacking front. But in terms of basically just the playmaking, right? As in, who would have more of the ball? As in, it depends on which team presses more. But for me, it certainly will be Rodri and Bernardo Silva, because Bernardo Silva has been like someone who's actually defensively making a lot of challenges, as well as someone who's playmaking. So I think him and Rodri, if they are kind of playing together for Liverpool, I know Fabinho has been fantastic, but that Curtis Jones, like again, he's been great, but would he be able to fend off a Bernardo Silva attacking as well as Rodri playmaking? Like that's something that you'll have to see. Apart from that, it's really 50-50. Like it's very difficult to call, because at the end of the day, the first 11s of both the sides are top notch. Like probably the best, I would say, right? So and then definitely it's a midfield, because it'll come down to who'll have more of the ball. And I can certainly see, for a change, Pep and City kind of giving more of the ball to Liverpool, but on
Yep.
purpose.
Yep.
Actually, good point, Ram and Kabir. I want you to chime in on this as well. Uh,
Yep.
Chelsea have been said to have an outstanding midfield, right? With Kovacic, with N'Golo Kante, with Jorginho, all on
Yep.
form, and they were completely dominated by this Man City midfield.
Yep.
Why do you think that was the case, Ankit? Do you think
Honestly,
you outnumbered because of the fact that Foden plays as a false nine, drops in as well? Do you think there was an outnumbering
I
situation?
I don't think, no, not really. As in on paper, certainly we should have outnumbered City by far, because I think N'Golo Kante is equal to two players. But that's when N'Golo
Yep.
Kante is N'Golo Kante, right? He
Yep.
wasn't, and obviously now he is tested positive. It's clear why he was ill. There's no secret there, because N'Golo Kante, even if he's like 50% fit, he gives it all. But that match, he wasn't giving it. Like he wasn't going for the 50-50 challenges. So unlike him, so that was one of the reasons. Again, not an excuse, but the fact is, definitely he was having that illness. Apart from that, the fact that we played three midfielders, like as in we have not played that much. I know we were terrific against Spurs, and we spoke about. I think the last stream that I was here, we spoke, why that will really work. But against City, that did not work, because again, they probably thought that N'Golo Kante is there, and three versus maybe their defense only kind of Rodri was the person who was defending, like really. So they probably thought that, hey, Kovacic thought Jorginho will do the job. Jorginho thought Kovacic will do the job, and it literally became like that, like how it happened in schoolboy football. It literally was very kind of disappointing to see. But overall, I think on paper we should have probably beaten them in midfield, but it's the fact that Kante was ill, and we did not take responsibility. So that's what I'm saying. So Liverpool, for Curtis Jones to kind of play, he definitely needs to take the things by scruff of the neck, and make sure that he's on Bernardo Silva, and he cannot kind of just attack, because definitely I can see Liverpool at Anfield having much of the ball. But it certainly will be interesting to see what Pep plays, because that will be the outcome of the game for me.
That's a really good point, right? Because I mean, even though I want Curtis Jones to play, Klopp may think otherwise because of experience. Simply because you're not going to have the freedom of the park like you probably had against Porto. You're going to have to
Yep.
be defensively sound to deal with, to come back and deal with Bernardo Silva, etc. as well, or Kevin De Bruyne, for example. And you may want to go with the experience, or someone like Keita who knows his role already in the team and he can do that defensive dirty work. So it's going to be interesting. Kabir, uh, who do you think? I mean, I know you're a United fan. You'll probably want. I mean, you probably want both of them to lose if possible, but
Yeah,
probably want
man.
Liverpool to lose. But who should Liverpool be afraid of in that team?
Um, I think when you look at the midfield, as was said, I mean Rodri's been fantastic this season, and you have De Bruyne, who's like, I would say, is like the best playmaker in the world, pretty much. And then Jesus has been on good form. Foden, we know how good he is.
He's brilliant,
Grealish,
Foden.
Grealish against Milner. I mean, Milner is a very solid player, but then Grealish is as well. I mean, 100 million, like the price tag says it, and and Grealish is not that selfish type of player. I feel like he'll always look for the pass first,
Yeah.
so he can drive, he can cut in, he can pass, and he also has a good shot on him. And then, so specifically for this game, I think that they will play Henderson and Fabinho, as you said,
Yep.
because of the attacking that City has to get that control. Because I feel if City, I mean, if Liverpool only play Fabinho, I feel if they only play Fabinho, then they will lose that midfield battle. But yeah,
Interesting.
it is a very tough game. It'll be a very tough game for both sides, I would say.
Actually, I'll throw a question out, Ram. I'll throw a question to you, man.
Mm.
He brought up a great point, right? It's Grealish who's now picking up a bit of form. I mean, I made fun of Grealish as a signing, actually, all through. I felt he would slow down City's play. I still think he slows it down a little bit, but he's picking up form. I think he had some really good chances against Chelsea as well, was denied by some great saves. Now, the fact that Milner is going to play and Trent is not playing. Milner is obviously 30, 35, 36 years old now, doesn't have the legs or the pace anymore. Would you start Grealish or would you start someone like Sterling or Mahrez who's got pace to run and get at Milner? Now, that's a very interesting question, right? What would you do?
Who, me? Asking
yes.
Me? Oh, okay. I think for this game specifically, when you have a player like Grealish who's hitting form, I don't think you should leave him out because he can only get better, right? So I would definitely want to stick with him. But then again, I look on the bench and I see Riyad Mahrez, I see Raheem Sterling. I think I would definitely want to give Sterling a chance, to prove himself again, because he has not been able to, he wasn't really playing well previously, but he has pace. He has lightning pace. So I think.
Would you start him ahead of Grealish, or would you start Grealish and bring Sterling on with his pace later in the game?
I think I'll do the second one. I think I'll start with Grealish and then I will sub Sterling into the second half, or when the game needs to be won. Yeah.
Actually, as a Liverpool fan, I'd be a bit worried of that, actually, because Milner, again, the age factor, I think he'll do a good. Actually, I would be more comfortable with Milner playing Grealish, because Milner is a very experienced. He's a very what's the right word? But he's a really cunning, really experienced.
Exactly, so basically, when you're talking about cunning, Milner definitely knows where to make the fouls. So he's that kind of player. What Trent kind of misses and he doesn't go for the tackle, I think Milner will make sure. So that's where I actually see Grealish being kind of crowded.
Sly.
So Sly, that's the word. And I think Milner would do a brilliant job against Grealish. I don't know why. I know Grealish keeps the ball up, but I think he's so experienced, he's so canny the way he plays. He would get the better of Grealish, and the pace won't frighten him because he doesn't have much pace, Grealish, actually, at the end of the day. But the thought of Sterling running at him actually scares me more, because of the pace element, or even Sterling coming on against him, for example. I'd be a bit more worried about that. But then again, that's the reason why it's very confusing, because I think if Trent was playing, our lineup would be pretty much fixed. With Trent not playing, there is a question mark, because he's going to lose a lot in the attacking side of the game, Jurgen Klopp, with Trent not playing. What Trent gives you in attack. So maybe what you do is you say, Milner, don't move forward, stick to your duties, stay at the back, so you don't have to chase a Sterling running backwards, for example. You're always in the right position. But to do that, we will lose something in attack. So this is what we do, guys. We play with Henderson and Fabinho holding, and we give the four of them license to cause havoc, which is Firmino, Jota, Salah, and Mane. And that's why I could see something like that happening, because he may look at it and say, it's attacking, yes, but it also gives us defensive stability. Milner stays at the back. It allows him to stay at the back. We're not dependent on Milner pushing forward. And then we've got the four of them to wreck havoc from on the top of the field. So it's a really interesting question, right? But yeah, that's where I see it being a little tricky, actually, and where Klopp may think about switching things around. But yeah, that's what makes it.
But I'm also, having said that, Harry, I'm also looking at how Kevin De Bruyne is going to be whipping in all these kind of passes that could be left behind. Because I believe, like what Kabir said, he is one of the best playmakers in the world. Like, you can put any defense in front of him and he can still find that pass. And if you have the likes of Gabriel Jesus or Foden, with that kind of pace, or even Sterling for that matter, or Mahrez, whatever it is, I think Liverpool also needs to be afraid of that, because that could be a high possibility that could happen on many occasions.
No,
I have one quick point here, right? So maybe we'll see De Bruyne play the false nine, because I just call Foden.
Yes, he's done it before, isn't it? He's played De Bruyne as false nine. Yep.
That could happen too. Yes.
Negate the things, because I think him playing false nine, or maybe Ferran Torres. I think, if I'm not wrong, he's fit as well. So he might come in. So it'll be certainly interesting. I think probably Ram is right, because I think De Bruyne, his position will probably
Yeah.
be key, because I think if he is in midfield, I can see Fabinho kind of getting over him, as in he's the best bet for Liverpool, right? As in I said that. So, but maybe if he plays that false nine role, as in that will negate it, and maybe Pep will kind of let the midfield battle happen and let De Bruyne kind of get the ball up front. Like, no, that's a
Yeah,
great
I think,
possibility, I would say.
to be honest, I'm actually more afraid of City playing this false nine than when they played with Aguero. It's funny I'm saying this, but
Yeah,
as a
true.
Liverpool fan, because I think with Aguero playing, the two centre backs at least, they knew who they had to pick out or who they had to mark.
Yeah.
I think with no one
They'll be
playing there,
confused
they'd be
now.
confused. Yeah, because these guys dropping deep, one guy coming in here, and they won't know. They'll make a move to pick someone up, and then they'll leave gaps at the back. I think that's what Chelsea suffered from as well, if you ask me. And maybe that's why Pep loves playing this false nine, because it's really tricky to deal with. You don't know, your centre backs don't know who to follow. They don't know who to track, right? But yeah, really interesting conversation, guys. Listen, I mean, we got to get some predictions now. It's a cracker. We've built it up to be an absolute cracker. It's 50-50 from, at least from my perspective. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the game, guys? Let's start with Kabir. I want a prediction from you, man, for the big game.
Ooh, I'll say Liverpool 2-1.
Oh wow,
Liverpool 2-1.
Good getting them from a United fan, man, makes me more confident. And Liverpool will welcome the City bus as well, isn't it? With all those flares, they did that before. They're probably trying to intimidate them again. So that'll be interesting. What about you, Ankit?
Yeah, like I called it earlier, right? I can see this kind of happening a draw because of Pep, the way he'll play, and I can see both teams scoring, but I'll go for a 1-1, which is something that I don't think any of the teams will be unhappy with. So, but again, a big picture, we would like to see more goals as a neutral, but I think 1-1 is probably what I see.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'd love a win, but I wouldn't say no to a draw as well. I'd rather not lose the game. Eugene goes with a big 3-3. Ram, I want your prediction for this, man.
Okay, my prediction always tends to be a little bit, I don't know, uncanny, I would say, but I think I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw.
Oh, a ball draw, a ball fest, a ball fest.
I think that's highly possible, man. It is possible.
Yeah, well, this is the firecracker game. It could go either way. Well, how is it going to impact the title race, man? So obviously, you guys all come from different clubs, not involved in this fixture. I'm obviously very invested in this game, but as neutrals, I mean, your clubs are challenging for the title, and this is a perfect opportunity, right? You've got a home game against Everton on a Saturday. So if you win the game, and I think even your game is on Sunday, isn't it, Ankit? Or is it Sunday?
No, it's Saturday actually.
Saturday. So your team gets the win.
Games.
Your team gets the win. I mean, I've been in that shoe before. Liverpool gets a win, and then you wait and you watch this game, sitting back, having a drink, for example, and just watching two teams hammer and tong kill each other and drop points. You see. So how would you like it to play out for your side? What's a better result for your side, Ram?
Definitely a draw, bro. Definitely a draw. A draw is what we want because we can't have both teams losing. So a draw is as good as both teams losing because they both then drop 2 points. So and it gives us the chance to win against Everton and probably go up top. So because Brighton is playing with Arsenal, so Arsenal's on form, so that could be a tricky game as well. So I think if that goes, then it works for us perfectly. But I have to be honest, that Everton could be tricky as well. So I'm also quite nervous for the game. I'm hoping that we could give early start, get an early goal, and probably score a few goals and not concede. That would be a dream. So yeah, anything can happen, but I would hope for a draw, definitely.
Okay, wow. What about you, Ankit? What's a better result for Man United here? Draw?
I don't care about Man United, but yeah, for Chelsea, definitely, it's going to be a draw. But I have to say, but for me, let me put it this way, right? For Manchester City, I know every day is not a Sunday, but I think once they kind of get that big win, right? As we saw last year, what happened? They go on a run, and even this
exactly.
season, right?
So do you want that actually? Because that could happen very well if they get another win. They go on a 10-match, 12-match winning run.
If you ask me whom you want to win, if there is a winner, and if it's not a draw, I'll probably want Liverpool to win because Man City going on a run again is something that I cannot stand. It's boring football for me. At least Liverpool, I kind of like the football. Like apart from Chelsea, I kind of like the football and just the way they play. But this season, like if you even if see, like it's been what 6 weeks and this is the seventh week, so we've had like all the three teams. That is again, I'm kind of eliminating Manchester United unfortunately now, but uh, first 2 weeks I think it was all about Chelsea, if you remember.
Yep.
Second two
Yep.
weeks it
Yep.
was about Liverpool, and then it was Man City. So something's got to give, right? And this is
The
probably the
first
week, and
three,
this is the
the
match.
first 3 weeks was about Tottenham, man. You forgot.
Oh yeah, I mean I forgot the
Hey,
Lionel, right?
Actually,
Definitely.
actually, actually, let me rephrase it. The first 3 weeks were about Tottenham. The last 3 weeks have also been about Tottenham for all the wrong reasons.
Yes, yeah. So, as in, this is probably the big match, right? As in, so that's the reason why I'm calling, like, no team will kind of give it away because it's very early in the season still.
Yep.
And, that's all the reason that I think a draw is something that I'll take, and a draw is something that I see happening.
Okay, awesome. What about you, Kabir? Draw as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I hope it's a draw.
Okay,
Mm.
awesome, awesome.
I
Give
mean,
us a prediction.
yeah, give us a prediction, bro. Kabir,
I think
what's
he
it?
did give us very 2-1. You said, was it?
Yeah, I said 2-1 Liverpool.
He said Liverpool, but obviously he'll fancy
Yeah,
a draw.
I hope it's a
Yeah.
draw.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, guys, listen, let's talk a little bit about the other two teams competing for the title, I'll say. So, sorry, Arsenal fans, sorry, Spurs fans, but you guys are not in this race, man. You're not even in the race for top four. You're
But you're
probably in the race
welcome to
for top
join.
six.
You're welcome to join our chat. Let us know what you
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
exactly. Let us know what you think. Let us know if I'm talking shit. But yeah, what about the game? Let's start with the early kickoff, Man United, Everton. I think it's a cracking game uh,
Yeah.
to start the weekend. It's not that easy a game. I see United fans
No.
probably taking it to be an easy game. I don't think it's going to be an easy game.
No.
What are
Yeah. It's
your
not going to be
what,
easy.
what are your thoughts going to the game, Kabir?
Um, I think okay. So I mean, I told you guys I was at the Villarreal game, and Aston Villa won last week.
Yep.
But I think the mentality of the fans is even we're chasing the game at 1-1. I think Ole brings on Matic, which in hindsight, I mean, it was a good sub because it led to the goal. But then it does show some negativity when you have Donny on the bench because
Yep.
you're bringing on an old center defensive mid who has
Yep.
not that much pace. When you have Donny
Yep.
on the bench, and we saw Donny got angry. Like I'm not
Very
sure if
pissed
you've seen
off.
that.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
pissed
yeah,
off. I
Pissed
yeah.
saw
off.
that clip.
So
Yeah.
He
pissed
was
off.
he
Yeah.
was really pissed off. And I think if you look at the string of games that we've been having, I mean, okay, Villa was a loss, and then there was the cup game. But then that Villarreal game, it could have easily been 2-0 as well in the first half if De Gea didn't make those saves.
Yep.
And
Actually,
then
right at the end as well, I think he pulled off a stunning double save right
yeah,
at the end.
Double
yeah.
safe. Yep. Yep.
He's been exceptional. But I think even a few games. Oh, I think that there was Wolves away as well where we got that last minute goal, and I think the
There was West
Everton.
Ham. There was West Ham.
Yeah,
Obviously,
the West Ham as well. There's just been so many
last
games
minute
where
goal, and then
we
the
could have.
West Ham League Cup, and
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
Aston Villa game as well. Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly. And then even the West Ham Premier League game where we won that because of De Gea's last minute save.
yep.
So
Yep.
there's been a
Yep.
lot of like where we could have dropped points, but we are lucky to I think we're lucky to be in the situation that we are now. So I think the game against Everton, we need to make a statement, I would say. We need to make a statement and play the attacking football and just I think we need to win the game 2-0, 3-0. I know it's gonna be a tough game, but maybe not even winning by that margin, but just showing that we're playing positive football.
Yeah.
Actually, this
Yep.
is really good, right? Talking about United, we've been talking about United over the last few weeks as well. And Kabir, you being there, you being at the game as well recently, I want to get a thought of someone who's been at the game recently, right? And you live in the city as well. What are fans thinking? What do you think? Where do you think the issue is? Because United are they're still almost joined top of the league, 1 point behind maybe, but they're not really playing well, are they? There's a lot of criticism going all his way as well. I mean, it's all not well, I think, even though you guys are doing okay points wise. Where do you think the issue is watching the team play?
I think as much as I don't want to like hate on the manager and stuff, but there is in a way because I remember even the people around me were saying what's happening in these training sessions. We just look so unorganized. And yeah, and in that Villa game as well, you just see Ronaldo drifting so far out left when he's meant to be that striker. I feel in the Newcastle game, it was good. He was playing striker. The balls were getting
He
pinged into
maintained
him.
his position.
Yeah. Here he's drifting out so wide. Like
Yep.
we've signed him to be that striker. He's 36. It's not the same player from 12 years ago just running down the wing as well. And
Yep.
even if he was running down the wing, there's no one in that striker position anyway. So I think he
Yep.
needs to
Yep.
be there, and we just need to be set up better. And yeah, I just think the coaching needs to be better. We need to set up better and just playing better as well.
couple of things, right? Couple of questions. Ram, I want you to get involved as well. But a couple of questions, Kabir, because it's a really interesting chat. I mean, obviously, like I said, you're there, you've been at the game as well. I've heard a couple of things that some United fans, well, I've heard on YouTube, for example, speak about, some friends as well who have voiced concern about, and two things keep popping up regularly. Obviously, there are those that are blindly in love with Ole for loyalty reasons, for example. But leaving that aside, two things that I've heard being brought up regularly is, one is the style of play, the DNA. So apparently it seems that it's more right now about individual brilliance to win you games, as opposed to a style of play and a pattern of play to open teams up who sit back, which doesn't seem to be in existence. It's about individual brilliance saving you time and time again. Either it's De Gea at the back, or Ronaldo up top, or Bruno Fernandes. And then the other thing that's brought up, quite recently has been brought up actually, is Ronaldo. Bonucci mentioned from Juventus, I don't know if you guys saw this in an interview, where he said that Ronaldo, when he was with us, he obviously scored a lot of goals for us, but he was a bit of a problem as well, because the teammates always thought they just had to pass the ball to him. So they became a bit less motivated in training almost. It was almost like, yeah, we're all good. We've got Ronaldo. We just pass the ball to him. He'll get us the goals, right? So that factor, and then also the factor which I heard some pundits speaking about, the fact that Ronaldo doesn't seem to be pressing very much up top, and that may be affecting the whole team's pressing as well. And maybe the fact that he's drifting out wide is because he's not getting the ball, so that may be another reason as well. But yeah, what are your thoughts on those two things? The Ronaldo factor, whether he's pressing enough, whether he's whether it's all about giving him the ball and the rest of the team losing responsibility, and also the fact that you guys don't really have a pattern of play.
Kabir, you want to go first?
Oh yeah, sure. I agree with what you said. He is drifting out wide, because even when we're in the midfield, even our passing, I just feel it's very sloppy. We're just not moving the ball around well. And I just want to add, when you watch on a TV and when you watch live, it's different as well.
That's why you want to get your perspective.
Yeah. So exactly. So I watched that. I know Arsenal weren't that great, but because I arrived in Manchester a month ago, so I watched the City Arsenal, and even without De Bruyne, I just see how quickly they move the ball compared to us. So and especially with as we know, like most Premier League teams, they play like low block, low defense.
Yes.
So it's so important to move that ball quickly, and I just see when we're at the games, like, they just take their time, and there's taking your time and being efficient with the ball, like not messing up, not making these sloppy passes. But then there's the slow tempo, the slow passes, messing up these simple passes, which just ruin the passage of play and just does not let them get anything flowing.
Absolutely. I do agree with you.
Yeah, Ram, actually, yeah, go ahead, Ram.
No, because I do agree with what Kabir is saying. And if you talk about, getting more efficient with the ball, you can't have Fred in the team. That is for sure. You can't have Fred in the team if you want to be efficient.
Do you think Fred's the one slowing the game down, Kabir, since you had the game?
Fred McTominay double pivot doesn't work. I don't think so.
Yeah. But I would say in that Villa game, he was winning the ball a lot. He was. I would say that he was one of the few positive players. But yeah, he does slow the play, and we look at Matic defensively, but we know he's very slow, so he slows the players down. And then often you can see these runs happening from the right and left, which they don't show you on TV, which can be pinged in. But then, like, I just feel like the players don't really have that confidence to try play those long balls in as well.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you notice, Kabir, when Matic play, he can spring those passes on. Even though he's slow,
yeah. Exactly.
He could actually make the passes through, to the opponent's penalty box, and he's confident to do that. So sometimes when I compare Fred and Matic, although Fred may be a bit more quicker, Matic is a bit more slower, but I think ball efficiency-wise, I do think Matic has what it takes. But Hari, to answer that question as well, I think it all boils down to who starts, against Everton. I feel. Would be very important, because if you talk about style of play, you talk about efficiency on the ball, you need to have the right midfield. And for me right now, if you're going to trust Fred and McTominay, it's going to be a complete no-go for me, because it's not going to work. You want to keep attacking. You want to look. If that happens, that's where, you have all these individual players, individual brilliance that will take place, because those two double pivot does not really move forward. But if I were to put Van de Beek on, for example, giving him a chance to play, if I put Van de Beek, and Pogba in center, and then you have Bruno, Sancho, or Greenwood, and with Ronaldo up top, then you will see a good brand of football, because all these players have what it takes to spring long passes on. You'll see them winning headers in midfield. You'll see them controlling the ball, moving the ball forward. Players like McTominay and Fred, they don't seem to move the ball forward as much. They like to push the ball backwards. That slows the entire game down. So that's what I see happening. But watch my words, guys. I think Ronaldo and Cavani will start next game.
No, for me, I have to kind of.
I was going to come to you, Ankit. I want a couple of thoughts from you. One is the fact that, they talk about slowing their game. Now, I think it's more than that. I think they don't have a DNA, a way of playing. And I think you devise that on the training pitch. So for me, it's an all-day factor as well. But you've got players who can play the quick passes in midfield. If you play Pogba in the midfield, or you play Donny van de Beek, who is never getting a shot, why do you think he doesn't play them?
See, as in, definitely, as in, he's not trusting, I think, Donny, as in, defensively. That's very clear for everyone to see. Like, if you
and he
go
doesn't
by,
trust Pogba defensively as well, I suppose.
Pogba cannot defend. Like, he cannot play that role. Time and again, he has proven that he's not. He's probably best in a 4-3-3 on left side. The entire world knows that. Like, that's his best position. And he does not want to defend. That's one more thing. And he does that once in a while, but that doesn't kind of, win you games in midfield. So, like Ram said, if you play Donny and Pogba, that's something that probably Ole does not trust. I think Donny and Pogba cannot defend. So, I don't see that happening, honestly speaking. So, Matic definitely comes into picture, because Matic, again, he might be slow right now, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because Manchester United, the kind of attacking talent that they have, and of course, Greenwood in form, and Ronaldo, he's in form. Technically, he's in form. So, definitely,
I think they play a lot better when Cavani plays, though. Very, very interestingly, whenever he comes on, they play well. Yeah,
you know what I'm coming to. But I think Matic is the one who can probably play those long passes above the top, and he's also someone who can actually play first touch passes. So he's someone who's more confident to play first touch passes, and he's actually done that. And he's actually, his assisting ability is really undermined to me. And at this age, probably that is something that they should look from Matic. They should not look for Matic to use his, physique and, look for space, etc. No. And then, of course, against Everton, I think Doucouré is going to play probably, so he's going to be used. But, as in I was coming to this, because I think the solution for Man United will be like letting Ronaldo manage the team. That will be the end solution. It's going to happen. Like, trust me, it's going to happen.
You already see it happening, isn't it? He comes off the bench against young boys, I think, and he's managing the team from the sidelines, etc. You already see it happening. Yeah.
So Ole needs to just give him the space, and he needs the space. That's why he's finding space in the left flank. He needs to basically get the manager's seat. That's what I would say. But I think Matic is the person. Like, trust me on this. If Matic plays, he's the person who can probably beat Doucouré in midfield, as in he has a physique, plus the fact that he can go over top. I think Ronaldo is looking for those kind of balls, which he's not getting right now.
Okay, guys, listen. On to Everton, the game itself. I think Ram, maybe you guys can give me some information. Team news is Maguire fit? He's out, right?
No, he's out. Maguire's out.
What about Luke Shaw?
Shaw, apparently, he seems like he could be okay, but I don't think so. He's going to start. So I think Telles. It looks likely that Telles will start the game, and Telles is on a high. He scored a good goal against Villarreal.
Fantastic goal.
Fabulous goal. I heard he had a very poor game though, but then he scored a wonder goal. Yeah,
he's got a wonder goal, but I think what we're going to look for now is having Wan-Bissaka back, and I think Wan-Bissaka needs to come back to the team, because Dalot was absolute rubbish against Villarreal. No offense to him, no disrespect to him, but he was absolute rubbish. And that's the thing, right? So Wan-Bissaka coming back would be a good plus point for us. Lindelof this season seems to be a bit better than last season. I think he's showing a little bit more aggression in defense. So I think I would trust him more than Bailly, because Bailly often gets injured, or he will probably give a penalty away. So it's either one of those two things. But Maguire is out. So
for you, it's Lindelof and Varane. What about you, Kabir? Lindelof and Varane, is it? Start.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Then who do you guys, before we get to predictions, who do you guys fear from the Everton side? Ram, let's start with you. Are there any players?
I'm thankful
going to the game.
I'm thankful there's no James Rodriguez anymore in that team. he's gone to some Al something. So but I think Demarai Gray for me because he has been a brilliant signing for Everton. I think underrated, of course, still very young, still a lot of proof, but I think he's quick. And with the gap that Maguire is going to leave, at the defense, I'm pretty sure Everton is going to exploit that, moving forward. But yeah, that's one player that I'm actually quite fearful of.
Yeah. What about you, Kabir? Anyone you're worried about actually going to the game or any part of the field? It could be midfield, defense, attack.
I think Doucouré.
Yeah, it's a good pick, man.
Doucouré
Is
has
excellent.
been amazing, even up top, even in the midfield, and that's the thing. I don't know who we're going to be playing in midfield. Even to add what you said, Donny. I mean, I would love to see Donny and Pogba play together. Even to let
Yeah,
Pogba have more of that freedom and let Donny play, like control the midfield. I just think, I think it's definitely better. I honestly don't think Fred is a CDM at all. I mean, even in Shakhtar,
he's a
he
left
wasn't a
back.
CDM. Yeah, it was a good ball, a good ball.
Yeah.
That,
I mean, Kabir, to add what you're saying, right? Sorry
yeah,
to interrupt you, but to add to what
yeah.
you're saying, I just feel that, this game is going to be very, 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 very important for us because we need to win this game. And of
Oh,
course, with the
huge
lineup
game.
that we currently, with the lineup that Ole would put out, I think it's going to be against us because he's not going to put Van de Beek and Pogba in the midfield,
Yeah,
like what Ankit
exactly.
said. But here's the thing, right? Do you agree with me, Kapir, that we know for a fact that we cannot defend? United cannot
Yeah.
defend.
You're not.
Okay.
Our primary thing was our signings were brilliant. Our signings were brilliant though. So don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
like we needed that CDM. We needed that one CDM so we can let Pogba have that freedom. Because even when Pogba is playing that center mid spot, he's trying to come back and he's not good defensively. Let's be honest. He's not
No.
at all. And then we look at the other options. Matic is good playing the ball, but we know he's a bit slow. Fred
Yep.
is I don't think he's a good player. I think he's good off the bench, I would say. And McTominay, I think McTominay needs time as well. But yeah, yeah,
McSauce, basically, he doesn't know how to
Mixer,
play the ball forward. He plays
yeah,
the ball backwards. So,
exactly.
so to add to what you're saying, Kabir, I mean, I'm sorry, guys, if you're talking about United a little bit here and there, but just to get to the point, I just want to say this. Okay, we know teams will score against us. Okay,
Yep.
I think that's going to be what's on Ole's mind. That's going to be what on the team's mind. We know that teams can score against us, but we just need to score more goals. That's probably
Exactly.
how we're going to be winning our games. That's how I feel. Okay, Everton, you want to score against us? Go ahead. We'll just score more goals than you. Boom, we'll win the game. Bye bye.
Actually, good point, right? I mean, number one, Ankit, we can both have a laugh at this, but when they signed Varane, they said we're going to have the best defense in the world. Well, now they're saying they don't have any defense. So interesting, that one.
I called it. I don't know if you guys remember. I think we discussed on it, right? I think when Varane was signed, Ram was on cloud nine, and we didn't mention about. I think it was Almighty Blues. We discussed on that channel, and we actually said that probably when we played Real Madrid last season, we actually rated as Chelsea fan Militao better than Varane, and I think we had a laugh then. But I think probably Varane is still kind of getting to grips. He will get there, no two ways
I think
about
it's the
it.
same with Sancho, isn't it? Getting to grips because he's been really poor, man. Jadon Sancho so
No,
far.
I don't think
Sancho
he's
is
been really
different, right?
poor. I don't think he's been
Yeah.
really poor. I think he has not made any terrible mistakes, but neither has he made any exciting contribution. So
He doesn't
he's
Exactly.
look
just on
more
the
than a
fence on
30
that one.
million
Yeah.
pound player
So,
right now, basically. That's why it doesn't. Currently, he doesn't look more than a 30 million pound player, right?
but
Yeah.
I think.
he will get there. He will
I
get
think,
there.
yeah,
He
I think
will
with
get
Sancho,
there.
yes, I agree. With Sancho, I think he will get there. It's just about whether he's getting
Yeah.
the right kind of
Lingard
support.
has been good, but I have to definitely give kudos to Lingard because I'm surprised. Like I expected him to kind
Yeah.
of fall off,
Yeah.
but after Sancho came in, I think Lingard has probably got that extra mojo. Like maybe he's going to be the
Hey,
man.
interesting
Actually, we
point,
talk
Ankit.
about
Why don't we start with Lingard? Yeah. Why don't we
Actually,
start with
you
Lingard?
guys talk about Donny van de Beek playing that midfield role. To be honest, anyone who's watched with Donny van de Beek for Ajax, that wasn't his role. He was actually a Lampard style player. He used to
Yep.
drive in, make late range runs into the midfield, which is the kind of role that Bruno maybe plays. He used
Yep.
to make those late runs into attack and score goals. He's not a defensive midfielder, so he wouldn't really do a job. I think you got to play to his strengths. And right now, the way your team is set out doesn't really play to his strength. There's no position for him, so that's probably why he doesn't get a game. Listen, we've got to talk a bit about Chelsea as well and Southampton,
Yep.
but let's get final predictions from everyone for the game. Let's start with you, Ankit. There's a neutral in this game. Man United, Everton.
Unfortunately, I see a rout happening here. I think Man United have got a few routes over Everton. I think this is going to be one of them early kickoffs. I think it's similar to Leeds game. I see, as Ram said, Everton, definitely scoring, but Man United scoring 4. So 4-1, Man United.
Awesome.
Wow.
What about
Thank
you,
Ankit.
Kabir?
I would say 3-0.
Cool. Ram.
Well, whenever I watch United v Everton, there's always this one score line that always comes to mind. 4-2.
Okay. Yeah. I think that was a Goodison Park, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, 4-2.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go on the reverse. We've got a Liverpool fan here, by the way.
Hey,
He's gone Man United to win 2-0.
You are a Liverpool fan and you want Everton to win? Come on, man.
No, I mean, listen. I mean, of course, I'd rather Everton win than United because United are our title challengers here. Let's face it. But not just that. I mean, I think I've not been impressed.
Your
with
love
United
for Rafa
playing
Benitez. Your love for Rafa
and,
Benitez.
and I think and Ankit, I'm going to be against you here, and Kabir as well with the high scores. If you have watched Rafa Benitez, they don't normally end in high scoring games. He knows how to defend. He's very organized with his team. If they lose, they may lose by the odd goal, but they are really tight in defense. Even with Newcastle, he never conceded many goals against United. So for me, this one ends in a draw. I think it goes 1-1. I think it goes 1-1. I think Dokore is going to be dangerous because if you play with Matic or even Fred, I don't think they have the legs to track Dokore. He's brilliant running, making those late runs into the box. Yeah. If you play with the same Matic, I don't think he tracks him. And the other thing is, if Telles plays, for example, I mean, you talk about Demarai Gray, but I think Andros Townsend is in hot form and he plays down that side as well. I think he'll give you a bit of a tough time as well. Telles a bit of a tough time on the break as well. So for me, this one goes 1-1. Actually, Everton have a very decent midfield, isn't it? I think they've got Andre Gomez in there. They've got Alan as well, who's good, ex-Napoli player as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, but I'm going for 1-1 here. And it's an early kickoff. I don't think Everton had a game in Europe, so they're coming in fresh. Yeah. United had a game in midweek as well against Villarreal. So I think there are factors there as well, right? Early kickoff.
Hey, last minute winner. Confidence is high. Ronaldo.
Not sustainable. Come on. Not
sustainable. It's false confidence. Let's talk about Chelsea Southampton very briefly, Ankit. I'm going to give you a chance to talk about your team. Is it going to be an easy walkover win? How comfortable are you going into this game? I know confidence is not supremely high.
Yeah, definitely not.
However, a chance to correct things, I suppose.
There is hope.
Hope is certainly there. With Tuchel, I think it's just like I said earlier. It's just the first time that we're losing back-to-back games, and those two big games. Anyone could have lost those. Yep. But the kind of performance that we've had, right, as in just the intent against Man City, like we spoke about the midfield kind of being missing, literally, right? And
you did have a shot on target in that game, isn't it? Not a single.
Yes, and even against Juventus. So against Juventus, I think we had 16 attempts and only one shot on target. Imagine, that's how bad. So we went back to the olden days of, say, 12 months ago, what we were in terms of front of goal, right? We missed a good few chances, but for me, it's just the fact that I think we haven't beaten Southampton for 2 years, and that's something that I did a stream yesterday on my channel, and I actually was shocked to see that. But I remember the last time we won was under Lampard, at the beginning of Lampard's era. And even in the Lampard, I think we had drawn Southampton 3-3 with Werner, Havertz scoring. But again, Southampton, have those wingers. So if they kind of play with Redmond or the likes, and again, there are ex-Chelsea players there, like Romeo is there, Livramento is there.
Livramento is really good player. But is he on loan? Is he?
No. So we've sold him. He basically wanted to kind of play first team football. So we've sold him, but with a buyback.
So he can play in the game. He's not as if he can't play.
No, right? He can play. Yes, exactly. But Armando Broja cannot play. So he's a guy who subs Armstrong in games. He's not eligible because of being on loan. But I think Salisu, their centre back, is very good. So Southampton are the draw merchants. They, like we said, they've not won any game, but they've
drawn 3 or 4 games. The best part, they drew away at City, so you can't really take them for granted.
0-0
at City. No, and not just that. I think they only conceded one shot on target against City.
Yeah.
True.
So that tells me that if they go out to defend to get a draw, they know how to do a good defensive job. The fact they've done it there, they could do it again.
Yeah. And I have a question for Ankit though, in regards to Chelsea, because I think a lot of people have been saying that Lukaku, big money buy. he has always disappeared in the big games.
And he
I
seems to
think the
have disappeared
last
again in the big
he
game. So
seems to have
yeah,
disciplined against the big game. But I mean,
Well, one
first
game,
and
okay.
foremost, I mean, I think he is a brilliant striker. He can score goals, but how do you think he? What does he have to do to really improve? Because I think, do you think that he will actually come up and with the goods in this game? After being absent.
Yeah,
hey, well, this is a small team, isn't it? He'll turn up.
and then again, like no kind of disrespect there to Southampton, but the fact that Lukaku actually scored 9 goals in 12 versus Southampton in the Premier League, and that's his
Yeah.
highest among all the teams. Plus, it's not about just the big or small thing. For me, it's about the service that he gets. I think Conte went on record yesterday saying that Chelsea are not playing to Lukaku's strength because he's someone who wants the ball on his chest and kind of needs runners beside him. The problem is Havertz and Ziyech are not running enough. They're not having
Mhm.
that work rate. Mount again, touchwood, like he doesn't injure himself again. He's very rarely injured. He was out. That mattered in those 2 games. So Mount running, imagine, and Werner on form. That is what we really need with Lukaku to kind of do well in big games. Because in big games, let's be right, as in Lukaku will be marked. No two
Yep.
ways about it. He's one of the best strikers,
It's the
and that's one
space
of the
he creates
reasons.
for everyone around him,
And
basically.
he does that, right? Exactly, and that's why we need runners. And I think in our squad, if you see, as in we don't have like Ziyech, Havertz are people who want the ball in front of them. We don't have kind of runners beside maybe Mount and Warner. Even Pulisic is someone who dribbles, like he really does not run as much. So I think he's unfit, but I think Mount is back. So that will certainly help. And in this game, I can see Mount finally, kind of helping Chelsea out in a way. But it'll be tough. Like I'll be honest with you, I'm not confident, but I am calling it a close win for sure.
Yeah, and I think interestingly, Werner had a poor game though, isn't it? Uh,
He wasn't
this
played
is
in
this is a
midweek.
good
Very
this is a good
surprising.
comment actually by John, who's a huge Liverpool fan, by the way. Livramento has the potential to be the next. He's a brilliant player, Livramento. I've been very impressed with Livramento actually. Top quality player, I think. Uh,
So
so yeah,
Tuchel
I
went
mean
on
even
record right today. Tuchel actually mentioned in presser today itself, just a couple of hours ago, saying that
okay.
Livramento is someone that he personally spoke to him and he wanted him in the squad. But the fact that Livramento wanted first team football, they had to let him go. But I think Tuchel, he was going for Hakimi in the summer. So imagine like Livramento would have been there. Our right wing back, I think Hudson Odoi, the right wing back is not meant for him. Honestly speaking, right? As in he just
I think Livramento with the name as well, starting with LIV. I think his future is at Liverpool, my friend. Especially now
Oh.
that he's at Southampton. Liverpool have a strong history with Southampton, picking up
oh
players
well,
from there.
well,
So
well.
Livramento is
No
going to get
comments.
his tutelage at Southampton for 1 or 2 years, become half decent or a very decent player, and then move on to Anfield where he belongs.
You see,
Oh,
guys, Ankit and of course Kabir. I think Liverpool fans like to dream a lot. Let him dream. It's fine.
But okay, interesting, right? Going into the game, I mean, Ankit, I want your point of view on this, right? I'm sorry, Kabir, I want your point of view on this as well, right? I'm bringing you in here. Looking at Chelsea, people have said they're tight defensively. They don't concede goals, and then they obviously get wins, and they've been solid, right, for the last 12 months or so under Tuchel. Have they gone a bit too far, as in trying to focus on defense and then lost a bit in attack? They seem a bit of a boring outfit. I'm going to be a bit blunt here, but they're seeing a bit of a boring outfit the last few games, where they just seem to be focusing on defense. They don't seem to have the
The
flair up
flair.
front. It's almost the long ball up to Lukaku, and the flair is missing in their game. What do you think, Kabir?
You're right, but then it works. You know what I mean? Like it works.
Yep.
They won the Champions League like that, and then I think Tuchel is like I think he's one of the greatest managers right now, and
Yep.
just the way they've transformed, and yeah, as Ankit said that Kante has COVID now and he was ill because normally he does control that midfield and that's how the midfield battle is won, and the way they play up top. See, like when United lose back-to-back games, or it's straight to Ole out. But then when Chelsea do it, like no one really because they trust their manager. It's very
Yeah,
different.
Tuchel is good.
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
got they've
yeah,
got a way of playing, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. So I think against the Southampton game they'll bounce back. They'll bounce back for sure. I think Chelsea will just have this like 2-0. I think they'll win 2-0.
Comfortable.
Chelsea 2-0.
Yeah.
Ankit, that's a good point that Kabir brought up. You brought it up as
Yeah.
well. Obviously, with Kante out now, is that going to impact your game? Because I notice whenever he's not in
Yeah,
the
it
team, you're
is.
not the same, isn't it, in midfield?
Certainly. And then as in with Jorginho again, like he's again someone who's played so much football over the summer, so he's
Yeah.
not looking himself yet.
I think
Kovacic has been
Saul
brilliant.
is not really settled yet. Yep.
You know
Yeah.
what? Like, this is interesting that you could tell Saul, because I think Saul has gone so down the pecking order after just 45 minutes of football. I know we spoke the last time, but in midweek, even I think Loftus-Cheek has been brilliant. I have to definitely shout it out. He's taken his chance that he's got in Kante's absence. But I think Barkley is even above Saul in the pecking order. So that was really surprising for me.
Barkley's still in Chelsea.
Exactly, and one reason what
I
I
didn't know.
hear, yeah, it's because of Lukaku. I feel because Lukaku and Barkley were while at Everton, if you remember way back, they had that partnership. As in that was supposed to be the big partnership of Everton, which never really flourished in the long run. But again, I think with Lukaku being there, Barkley and midweek showed just for a few moments though that he has some kind of a chemistry going. So I wouldn't be actually surprised if in Kante's absence, someone who kind of is able to play a little bit more, attacking in terms of pressing from the front. And then Barkley does that job, but not starting, of course. But if in case we need that, second half of the game, but Loftus Cheek is someone who kind of, is able to drive from as in deep. He's not someone who would really be pressing up front. So yeah, and then definitely for me, Kovacic is the key. I have to tell it again, I'm a stand, but the fact about Kovacic is he kind of is the only player who does all. Like he does all the things, but it's about how good he is on the game on that day because he's really temperamental. So for me, Kovacic will
Okay.
be the key. So that's the only thing I would say.
All right, then before we get to
Okay.
predictions, Ankit, I'm going to ask you this: are you afraid of any Southampton player? Anyone worry you from the Southampton team?
Well, like I said, the wingers are great. Like, and for me, I know calls are that I think Walcott probably will not be playing as in he's not 100% fit. But I think even Armstrong, right? As in he's someone who can play in the wing,
Oh,
and they have
yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
Redmond, right? So these are two players that probably have done. I think Redmond has even scored against Chelsea last time around. So uh, those are two players that I would really call out. And Livramento will want to prove a point that he deserved the first team spot in Chelsea.
Okay, I'm going to throw another name out there before we get to the predictions. James Ward-Prowse. I'm always
Of
scared
course.
when Liverpool
Oh,
play
oh, oh,
Southampton
oh.
because the guy is a set piece merchant. You
Free kick.
give him a free kick corner, and there's a good chance they might score. So I'm always worried about James Ward-Prowse actually. Uh, so yeah, predictions, quick predictions. Ram, we'll start with you. Chelsea, Southampton.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will win this quite comfortably. I think it's going to be like 3-1 to Chelsea.
Okay, Southampton getting a goal. Kabir, what about you?
Yeah, 2-0.
Comfortable. Ankit, big
Uh,
score.
I, I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, I can see a 2-1 win. We are off
Ooh,
late
narrow win.
conceding chances.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be a narrow win for sure. It'll be a close one. It'll be a nail biter because just before the international break, again, last time we spoke about early kickoffs.
Yeah.
We don't do well just before the international breaks. And that's been one of the Chelsea things, right? So I'm
But this
hoping
is
that
not
we
an
do
early
well.
kickoff, right? This one's
Yeah, but again, I think it's an international break coming up, so we haven't done well in that context either. It's just a Chelsea thing, right? We know
and
that
I
It's
think
like a Chelsea hoodoo,
exactly,
before the
right?
and I
international
always, I
break.
mean, even as when Liverpool, for example, they play midweek in Europe, and you're playing the weekend against a team that hasn't played midweek. I always get a
Yeah,
bit nervous because they've had a whole week to prepare. They're fresh.
true,
You're
true.
coming off, especially if you're coming back from an away game. And I think Chelsea played away in Turin as well, isn't it?
Yes, I can imagine Romeo, going for those hard tackles. I can see definitely a red card in this game. I hope it's not for Chelsea. That's all
Oh,
I can say.
okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to go for a comfortable 2-0 win, but actually thinking about you guys coming back from Europe, I think it'll be 2-1. I think it'll be a close game as well. They're a bit tight, but I think Chelsea will win it 2-1 in the end, and Lukaku will get on the score sheet again. All right, guys, that was fantastic previewing some of those games. Exciting weekend ahead, and then we go into the most boring of international breaks again. I don't think anyone here is a fan of the international break. Just
I
scrap the thing
hate
off
it,
for God's sake.
man.
It just puts you
Ah,
off for 2 weeks.
I can't
And
believe
of
I got to
course,
sleep early now because of the international break.
yeah, I hate the international break, man. It's horrible. But anyway, guys,
Yep.
awesome having you on again, Ankit. It was brilliant getting insights from you.
Yep.
Kabir, fabulous having you on as well. Great insights, especially
Thank
in
you, thank
Manchester
you.
United and,
Yep.
and your first-hand view of the matches as well. Ram, over to you, man.
All right. Of course, before we sign off, once again, I want to say very much thank you to Ankit as well. Thank you for always being available, and coming on and joining us on our show. Always happy to have
Do
you. We
subscribe to
will
the channel,
definitely,
guys. Fantastic
yes,
content.
Almighty Blues TV, correct, Ankit? Am I
Yeah, it's
right?
Almighty Blues
Almighty.
FC, but yeah, certainly. And then talking about international break, like I'm actually, having this trivia series that I do in international breaks. So anyone
Yeah.
who's kind of bored is welcome to Almighty Blues FC because we are having a personality kind of a quiz, Who Am I series, which is going to be continuing. Previously, it was only Chelsea, but now I'm kind of opening up to general EPL stars, right? So again, I'm sure I would definitely be inviting Ram Hari as well as hopefully
Oh, sure.
Kabir as well in the future. So that's something that I'm working on. But yes, certainly looking forward to more chat and looking forward to the weekend. And thanks for having me again.
I'm always
Always a
game for a
pleasure.
good. I'm always game for a good
Yep.
trivia, man. So anytime, my friend.
Yep. It's gonna test my knowledge. I am looking forward to it. Okay, and of course, Kabir, I want to say thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's your first time here, but it will definitely not be the last. You are definitely going to be
Yeah.
invited here again. We look forward to having you in the future, and of course, all the best to you in Manchester. Man, I envy you, brother. I envy you. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
yeah, absolute
All
pleasure,
right,
man.
always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So, guys, of course, all of you watching us, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell notification, hit the like, give us your comments, give us your thoughts, and we want to also have you on the show as well in the future. So, signing off from the Plot Malaysia. This is the show for the fans.
Bye, the fans. The Reds have got no money, but we'll still win the league. The Reds have
Oh
got
my
no money,
God.
but we'll still win the league.
Hey,
Cheers,
Liverpool,
guys.
what?
Cheers, guys.
Okay, bye, bye, bye.
Bye bye bye.